Coming
giving
up
them
on the
screens way
Nurse
too
Dad
young. And I
podcast.
think that we're forgetting how much they need nature and art and even science. Think about how much we played with bugs, leaves, and trees and sap, and we just learned all that from being outside. And it sparks curiosity too. I remember playing outside and seeing stars, so wanting to learn about stars,
Right.
planets, and lightning. And I just don't see that as much now these
Even
days.
just experiencing sitting in a dental office for 45 minutes being bored out of your mind.
Welcome to the Nurse Dad podcast.
Hello, ladies and gents. I'm RN Glenn, aka Nurse Dad, former Navy hospital corpsman, current ER nurse, and host of the Nurse Dad podcast, available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And today on the Nurse Dad podcast, I'm joined by Dr. Neela Young, a board-certified pediatrician, entrepreneur, wife, and mother of two. Dr. Neela has a special interest in childhood obesity, teen mental health, nutrition, and breastfeeding advocacy. And she's a certified lactation educator. And somehow practicing medicine and raising two kids wasn't enough to keep her busy, because she's also the founder of JAANUU, a healthcare apparel company created to rethink what healthcare professionals should expect from the uniforms they spend their lives working in. Dr. Neela, thank you very much. Is it Dr. Neela or is it Dr. Young?
Dr. Neela is perfect.
Thank you very much for coming on the Nurse Dad podcast.
Sure.
I went to your website, jaanu.com, right?
Yep, JAANUU.com.
Yeah.
That's
I
where to
went
find
there,
us.
and I have to say, when I started the podcast, I bought scrub tops that I can't wear to work because I want to be comfortable. I'm
Yep.
not comfortable at work, but I'm hard to fit because I'm 6'2". I go to the gym. I'm 250 pounds. It could be a little challenging, but for the podcast, I said, you know what? I want to wear something I'm comfortable in.
Guess what? We have something for you, I'm sure. We have all shapes, all sizes, all things, all lengths. So we'll talk about that later. But I'm sure I could find you something that you're going to be comfortable in and happy in, for sure.
And JAANUU comes from the Hindi word Jaan, meaning, and that's Jaan, meaning
Yes.
life, right?
Yes, yes. The base of our company was, my mom used to call us her little JAANUUs, and it was like we were her life. So when I started the company, I just wanted something that was going to be real and authentic, and something that described me and our family and being a child of an immigrant and their plight. And so that's where the name came about.
One of the best stories for naming anything that I've heard in a long time, I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pediatrics, what is it about caring for children and families that pulled you in?
I think the ability to have an impact on their life at a young age. I see my kids up to 20 years old. So I could have a 2-decade-long relationship with someone, and I could actually impact their life in a positive way. I always joke that I'm an anti-doctor, and I even have patients out there that call me anti-doctor, where I can be this kind of strong female, accepting, loving, energetic person in their life that's part of this pie that can help shape them to who they are with all of the training that I did and the knowledge that I have and the love that I give, and that it could be part of the family sort of life. And that just intrigued me. And the idea that if I came in early and taught them good habits and educated them on how to live a healthy lifestyle, from mental health to physical health to all the things that they experience, that I would just be a small part in making the world better. Just a small little part. And that, to me, is something that I felt like I could tackle. Is like, okay, I can make these positive changes and impact on many lives. And it was something that I was passionate about. So I was like, win-win. Great.
It's funny you mentioned that, because as you were saying that, I was thinking of my pediatrician from the 80s and early 90s, Dr. Kleena, who came from Europe and had to go back to medical school. But he was like a grandfather doc. I didn't really have a grandfather, and he instilled confidence in me and in my mom, especially since I had some health issues. But when I think about that, yeah, your go-to pediatrician is invaluable, especially when, as a kid, this is your introduction to healthcare.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't think about it like that till you jarred that in my mind, Dr. Kleena. But yeah.
I love that. Shout out to him. Like, just because, like I said, he had that impact in your life in a way that you maybe didn't even realize. And if we sit back and think about it, maybe he affected your decision to become a healthcare provider or be in that space. You just don't know, but it's just a powerful place. And it just shows the impact that we can have without really making it so grand. It can be small gestures that are just consistent over time, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, so true. You're also a certified lactation educator and breastfeeding advocate. What's the biggest misconception that people have about breastfeeding? For me, when my wife and I had our first kid, I thought it was easy. And it was for us, luckily, not too arduous. But that moment where you're waiting for the latch, it's stressful.
It's so stressful. I think what drew me to that space was just the idea that um a similar thing that I could get educated in the space and then I could help a woman and potentially have a baby breastfeed for a year or two. And I thought, wow, I can come in for a couple days at the beginning of this child's life and then have an impact, not just with the breastfeeding, but also have this long-term health impact. And it almost felt like public service to a certain extent and a calling. And then when I really started getting more passionate about the space, I realized just how much therapy was involved with that. And being a woman that just supported other women and lifting them in that vulnerable place in their life, and being a mother too, it's just something that's brought me a lot of joy and happiness. And I will say something that I'm just so incredibly passionate about. And even after 20 years, it's probably one of the most joyful spaces of medicine that I continue to stay in, because these little babies, all they want is to feed, and all these moms, all they want is to give this milk. And I think actually going back to the biggest myth is that it's going to be easy. And it's so not true. It takes work, and it's not just a lock and key. You've got to find the right positions, and there's so many different delicate intricacies to it. And so the more that we can destigmatize that for patients, to say to these mothers, you're going to be sore and it hurts, and that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, and you just need support. Just the sheer fact that you want to do it makes you a superhero. Just the fact that you have that drive to be like, I want to give my own milk to my baby, makes you exceptional. And not to say if you don't, that there's anything wrong with that. That's fine as well. But if I can support somebody's passion and do these little tweaks of the first few days that make a long-term impact, hallelujah. Hallelujah to that.
Yeah, I know in the 80s when I was a baby, there was a push for formula. And my wife and I, we did 60-40 with breast milk versus formula. Is a part of your passion for breastfeeding for just more kids to have what's more natural for them, what's made for them for the sake of health? Hello, ladies and gents. I'm RN Glenn, aka Nurse Dad, former Navy hospital corpsman, current ER nurse. And if you like what we do here on the Nurse Dad podcast, please go to mynursedad.com and hit subscribe. Thank you very much. And of course, stay hungry, be humble, Nurse Dad out.
I think that we know that there's breastfeeding benefits, and that's not to say that it's superior, inferior, but we just know from a science place that breast milk has antibodies that can, infection. We know that it can help mothers with,
Calorie burner, right?
Calorie burner, hormone release, hormone regulator. And it's just something that if women choose that they want to have that experience, I want to be educated enough to provide that for them.
You have a special interest in childhood obesity, nutrition, and teen mental health. These personally are things that I think about, especially having a 6 and a 4-year-old who are only, it seems like they're just getting older and older, faster and faster. But
Yes.
what are you seeing in kids today that concerns you?
I see more screen time, which leads to inactivity. I see them playing less. I don't see a lot of kids in the neighborhood like running around and riding bikes like I used to. I see a lot of snacks, just snacky, processed things that are quick hits for kids. And I just think that we're a very dopamine-ridden culture, and we're just giving that to the kids. It's like favorite show on demand, favorite snack in the bag, didn't have to eat breakfast and then just gets a granola bar. And I think we've moved away from having familial meals and sitting down and having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, slowing down enough to eat meals, whether together as a family or not, especially at dinner, but together as a family. I think that we're giving them screens way too young, which is making them, it has that addictive nature, which we know and has been proven to be true. So they're less likely to be outside. And I think that we're forgetting how much they need nature and art and even science to learn about. Think about how much we played with bugs, leaves, and trees and sap. And We just learned all that from being outside, and it sparks curiosity too. I remember playing outside and seeing stars, so wanting to learn about stars,
Right.
planets, and lightning, and I just don't see that as much now these
Even just
days.
experiencing sitting in a dental office for 45 minutes, being bored out of your mind, but having to control that boredom, it's a skill. It's something that enriches you. You and I would be good neighbors because even when I was planting flowers, the kids, I was like, look, there's a worm. And then the 4-year-old touches it and we have a discussion. I bought the same Time Life books in the 90s that I had, bought them on eBay. It's like
Oh,
a 15-volume thing, and they're pretty much still up to date just because there was no ideology in the books. They talk to children, in my opinion, a little bit more like adults. I don't know if that's
yes.
the right way to put it. Just talk to them as people, not performing for children, thinking that they're at a certain level, so I have to perform. My wife is in business, so I'm the nurse. I'm home more than she
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
I find that I have to work harder to just have an outside culture because there aren't neighbors playing on their front yard. They could be like, hey, so and so is out. So why don't we go? You have to put a lot more work. And I do because I'm old school. And I do, like you said, creativity and imagination and playing. And I'm proud when I can see them outside and they've exhausted all the toys I've bought them and they're playing a game with a stick. To me, that's like incredible. You can make a game out of a stick like we used to do. That
Yes.
is what you should be able to do. Yeah.
I love you for that.
I
Like, as
think
a
children are
pediatrician.
I think children are following a lot of habits I see in families. Sometimes I'll go to a diner with my kids and I'll see a mom or a dad with their kid and they're both on the phone, not talking to each other. And the kid could be even under 10 years old and they're just
Mhm.
not talking. It's like, what was the point? What's the point? And
Why are you
yeah,
at a
it's,
diner right now? Like,
and it
it's
is
sad.
easy to fall into that trap, but you just have
Mhm.
to be disciplined. Or I'll go to a lacrosse game for my 6-year-old and I make sure I am not on the phone. I want her when she looks at me, even if I don't realize it, that she sees me looking at her. I want to be present. So those are just things I think about.
I think you actually hit on something that's really important, and I don't want to skip over, is being present. And I think that is one of the hugest parts of what is missing because we have these devices that are pulling us into their world. And we know that. That's what the whole point is. It's like watching commercials over and over. Buy this, do this, have this, wear this. This is the trend. This is what's cool. This is what you need to be having. And they're doing that even more aggressively with kids. And so it takes them out of their body. It takes them out of their
Yes.
mental space, and it takes them out of their world that they're in and thinking that they need to live in another world. And the more that we can push against that, and the more that we can say, touch the grass, be under the stars, smell. Do you remember
We'll
when
go
you were a kid, you
camping in the
could smell?
backyard. They love it.
Yeah, think about like when you were
Even if
kids
I
and
don't
like
want
you
to
could
do it.
smell. Yeah, exactly. Another thing, right, is that we don't necessarily want to. It's easy for us to just give them a screen, right? But that's
With
not
my
servicing
back, I'm
them.
going to go in the sleep in the tent. But yeah,
Exactly.
I have to work a lot harder as a parent. It's just not
Yep,
as easy as it used to be. But
correct.
bike riding,
Bike
I'd have
riding.
the 2-year-old at the time sitting in front of me, and then I have an attachment bike for the then 4 or 5-year-old, and then we would just go on the bike path together. And I have two kids and myself, like 300 pounds of people that I'm myself included. But
But
yeah,
that's why you work out. That's why you
that's
work
why
out. I
that's
think
why.
that all the time. Like when I'm lifting my things and my kids are both in sports and equipment and this and that, I'm like, okay, this is why I do squats. This is why I do lunges. This is why I do all these things so I can take the kids skiing and do all these things with them and hopefully be able to do that with them when I have grandbabies. The same holds
Of
true,
course.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to give you 5 rapid fire questions. This is the first time I'm implementing this in a podcast because I want to get to know my guests even more than I'm allowed to.
Okay.
So number one, childhood obesity can be an incredibly sensitive subject. How should a parent talk to an overweight child about health without damaging that child's relationship with food and their body? This is something my dad mastered because I was quite a porky kid in that uncomfortable stage, 11, 12 years old, and suggesting I go into sports when I was in seventh grade and making it fun and never making me feel like I wasn't good enough because I certainly was awkward at first. You got rising childhood obesity. How should a parent approach their child with regards to obesity and not damage them?
I think your dad nailed it. Action based. So
Action based. Yeah.
you emulate what they want. You want them eating healthy, you eat healthy. You want them sitting down for meals, you sit down for meals. You want them to be active, you are active. So less talk, more action. Less bringing up food, stigmatizing food, good and bad food. No. Less working out and lifting weights and protein intake. And no, we work out because we want our bodies to be healthy so we can grow older and be together and to be strong. We eat healthy to fuel our body. We eat meals. We eat solid meals of whole foods. And we eat fruits and vegetables alongside meats and cheeses and yogurts. There's no good or bad. These are the things that fuel us, and these are the things that are just joyful. And both have a place, but we want to have the fueled foods first and the meals first, and then we have the fun stuff after, in hopes that they can understand what it feels like in their body to eat real food and perform, so that when they put that other stuff in their body, they feel the effects like you and I do, and they don't crave that instead of the opposite.
Have 4 vegetable gardens. And also, don't listen to your kids. We had an active morning, then they had a moment, lunch, they're relaxing. And I said, let's go outside and pick vegetables. And both of them, they didn't want to do it. And I'm like, we're doing it. And within a minute, they loved it. They were, oh, can I get in there? Can I hold it? So again, also in a way, don't listen to your kids. We're doing it. Like you said, action oriented.
Yep. And by the way, that's such a good thing. It's like, okay, who knows best? And it's not that they don't have an opinion, but there's times you just have to, the horse bites reins, right? And be like, I'm the leader of this family and this is what's happening.
What's one thing we're doing to children today that you think we'll look back on 20 years from now and say, we got it completely wrong?
Screens.
Yeah.
Early screens, too many phones, too many iPads, too many quick short hit videos, too much scrolling, and not enough family time, not enough nature, not enough science, not enough art, not enough creative whimsy energy, not enough outside camping, barbecuing. Too many screens, and too early. Screens early and too long.
They had that study. The white matter is diminishing in the brains of, especially under 3. Also, and this is a sick way to think about it, I think a lot of people know that adults are in some addicted path where even they can't put it down. So who are they to tell their kids not to put it down? Or I want to look on my phone, so here's a phone for you. I do think there's an element to that where people know it's wrong. I know I shouldn't have 5 Snickers bars, but I really like chocolate. I think there's an element to that. Who am I to talk? I have a podcast. I'm on this platform. But I have to say, though, part of it was because I have 2 girls, and I was really frightened of the social media stats concerning teenage girls. And part of me, my personality was, I'm going to take this thing and do it my way, in a way that's hopefully productive. So my girls have it burned in their head that dad was nurse dad on social media. And it wasn't a negative thing. That's actually part of my motivation, because I don't like to be scared about anything. And I didn't like that whole, one day when they get older, social media. I'm like, let me see what this thing is. Let me make it my own. That was part of my motivation originally.
I love that.
Okay, one more rapid fire question. What's one piece of health advice you would give to every parent? I guess you kind of answered the question. Less screen time? Is that the specific advice you'd give to every parent, or is there something else?
I actually would tell parents to go to therapy. I would actually say to parents, do the work, because we're talking about dopamine. We're talking about addiction. We're talking about why you can't put your phone down and why you are eating that and why you don't have the motivation to live your best life. Guess what? You're carrying some wound, okay? You're having some negative self-talk. There's something there that is preventing you from living your best life, and your kids are watching that. And so you need to do the work, and you need to close those loops of whatever isn't being fulfilled for you and why you don't have the confidence to go out there to live your best life. And once you do that and you heal that and you are purpose driven and you've done all that shadow work and you've faced all those demons, guess what? Your kids are going to see that. And you're more likely to get up and put your phone down and go for a hike. And you're more likely to make a salad without the negative self-talk. You're more likely to have the confidence to say, you know what, put your phones down. We're having family dinner right now. No, you're not going out with your friend. We're going out as a family. This is family night, and we're not. The 4 of us are important and matter. That's
including bedtime. Including bedtime. So do the work, and figure out why you're on your phone so much and why you're making those choices. And if you can't do it on your own, there are professionals there for that exact reason. You're only doing your kid a service by doing that. So you really have to develop a hobby, and then also the guilt, in my opinion, of not doing what you know you love. I love to read. There's still days where I was on my phone and I kind of cut into my reading time, or I'm late to the gym, or I'm doing a late night garage workout because darn it, after we got the kids to bed, I scrolled for 30 minutes or whatnot.
Right.
Still happens. But when you love something and you know it's good for you, and you're really going to not work out tonight, or you're going to skip another
Right.
day, or you're in a volleyball league, you're not going to sleep right tonight for that game tomorrow. You have to have these things in place, or at least
Yes.
really pursue hobbies and things that fulfill you, that, like you said, are action oriented. If you don't like to do anything, then what will get you off the phone? And there is something for everybody out there. So I would
Totally.
recommend that people find it.
Yep. What drives you? And then do it, and do it over and over. Period.
Yes.
Don't care what anyone else thinks about it. Just do
That's,
it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of people could comment on this, or any entrepreneur, before they have success. You can't pay attention to that.
No.
You already have one demanding career, pediatrician. Apparently it wasn't enough, like I had said before. Somebody on email, they said that you had started JAANUU before you got your license as a pediatrician. Is that true? Am I getting that correct?
Yeah, the idea was born when I was a medical student, because I was literally handed unisex scrubs from a vending machine. And I very naively asked my senior resident for female scrubs, and they laughed and they were like, that doesn't exist. The seed was planted of why not? And they were so scratchy and uncomfortable. And I felt so horrible wearing them. And I'm like, how am I supposed to be this empowered doctor when you're putting me in these like jail cell uniforms? Makes no sense to me. I hated every minute of it. I asked my advisor if it was okay if I had scrubs made, and he said, yeah, you can do it. You just can't wear it in the OR, but for regular days you can. And my best friend was a seamstress, and so we literally just made me a set of
Great.
scrubs. And within the first day, it was like, what are those? Where'd you get them? Okay, there's something here. And this is not just me. There are many people that feel this way. And so how can I now put my time and energy, like you said, and make this a passion project that can service others and I can be of purpose?
You have to sometimes work on yourself from the outside in,
Mhm.
depending on where you are in life. Sometimes it's a shave, or it's a shower, or
Mhm.
even when I was in the field, I was a Navy hospital corpsman. I'm attached to Marine infantry. I'm out in the field. I haven't showered in 10 days. But sometimes they would deliver like a meal, or I would have gum, and the gum
Mhm.
would be my morale booster to go to work and feel comfortable. I mean, certainly it's in footwear. I have plantar
Yeah.
fasciitis and bilateral arthritis in
Ugh.
my feet from the
Mm.
military. So I know when I put on a nice shoe, I instantly feel so much better. And if it looks
Yeah,
nice, then I feel better about that. But
absolutely.
definitely, it just doesn't get enough credit as it should, what you're wearing and how you feel at
Right.
work.
I think it's initially can be labeled as either materialistic or superficial, like, oh, I'm not defined by that. This isn't a negative thing. This is my way I present myself as an art form and how I love myself. I get dressed and ready. That is what I do. I learned that from my father. You get up, you get dressed, you get ready, and you start your day. And I don't care what that looks like. And of course, for my lounge days, I'm just going to hang, but I get dressed and ready for whatever the day is and wherever it's going to take me. And it does. It gives me that confidence booster to speak from my heart and to be empowered because, like you said, sometimes it's outside in. And the good news is sometimes it's outside in and inside out. And then that's when the good stuff happens. That's when the symbiosis happens, where what you feel and that deep self-love and how you're presenting yourself align. And that's where I want every teen out there to really feel and get to and learn that at an early age. They don't have all the other stuff later because they don't love themselves. That's what I want to try to avoid.
Did your friend, the seamstress, make that world tangible to you? I find everyone has a connection into the space they want to pursue that makes it possible. Was watching her work, was that what got the wheels moving?
Yeah, I think just one, having someone believe in me and be like, that's a great idea. Let's make it. And not being like, oh, I'm not sure, but just being like, yeah, okay. And I think that really fueled me. And then, yeah, to see them in play, it was pretty quick to be like, okay, this is a great idea. And let me just see what it looks like. And then to get that positive reinforcement right away of like, people do want to look good and feel good. Yes, I think at any point, having an amazing mentor or friend or a best friend or anyone that believes in you, and it's not like you're crazy, that's dumb, but instead saying, yeah, let's try it, is so powerful and meaningful in this day and age. And I pride myself on being surrounded by good women and having a very high bar for who I will let into my close social circle. And that's even more true this past year than ever before. And I pride myself on that.
We spend so many hours in our scrubs, and you have night shifters and mid shifters and day shifters and working extra, and you're in your scrubs more than almost any other type of clothing. It should be a priority. And you have
Right,
so
it
many different
matters.
fabrics, right? Water resistant. And
Yes.
how did that come about? When you started, was it just cotton or,
Yes.
yeah.
It was cotton poly when we started because we needed to have the softness of the cotton, but we needed to have the polyester that was going to hold its shape because no one's going to be waking up and ironing their scrubs. But it was also having that hand feel and the fact that we had to put it on our body. And the less it wrinkled had the more polyester, but then it was really rough on the body. And so we needed the cotton. So we had to perfect the fabric, and we actually ended up making our own fabric with time that I'm really incredibly proud of. This is a cotton poly and it has some stretch to it too. But then it was like, okay, can we have lighter weight scrubs for summer? Because we have clients from all over the world that are wearing in the heat. Can we also consider people who want more of a poplin, or they want more stretch, or they want more give? They want more of that yoga pant material versus a scrub material. And so we've really prided ourselves on having different fabrics for different people. And inclusivity has been a huge part, being a child of an immigrant family and not always fitting in. I wanted to make sure that our company was inclusive and that anybody with any body shape, any gender, anything could come to our site and find something for themselves. And I really am proud after all these years that that's something that we define ourselves by as a company. And it's held true from the beginning all the way to now. We haven't lost ourselves in that.
Yeah, hoping to find something that fits me too. And just
I got you. I already have ideas. My wheels are already like
has to be
turning.
a certain color. I don't have too much
Yes, I
leeway.
know. I am
Um,
married to an orthopedic surgeon, and so I know all about the colors and the fit and all the things. And he is also 6'3", so
oh, there
I
you go.
understand.
How old are your children, by the way?
I have a 14-year-old boy and then a 16-year-old girl. So
Oh,
tend
wow.
to
You
be
got
about
the best of both
similar.
worlds at the pivotal age
I
over there.
do. Yeah, it's a lot of teenagery things and big emotions and lots of food being consumed. But I honestly have to say, I absolutely love this phase of my life. And they're like little buddies, little emotional buddies, and they have their big opinions, but it brings me a lot of joy. It really does. It really has made me
You're in
who I am
LA,
today.
right?
Yes, we're in the suburbs of LA. So not quite, which is, I think, a good thing for me.
Yeah, I was all about New York City at one point in my life, and I'm happy to be a little outside of it. You just get older, and that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
I do
You
miss
need your
Southern
vegetable
California,
garden.
though. Yeah, the vegetable
Well,
garden.
yeah. Well, you're welcome to visit.
No, yeah, no, I was stationed at Camp Pendleton. I lived throughout Southern
Hmm.
California for a time. It was, yeah, lots to do, lots to do. The
Yep.
gardening was, I had so many patients in their 90s, and I would ask these people, do you garden? 9 times out of 10, they all had gardens. There's something about gardening and longevity that I need to learn here. Also,
That's amazing.
I was stationed in Italy for a year and a half, and
Oh,
you learn what food is. Oh, this is a tomato. Oh, this is
uh,
pasta. This is what chicken tastes like. And you come home,
right.
and even if you buy organic or farmers market, it's not quite the same as when you're growing
Mm-mm.
it. Yeah,
So true. So
yeah.
true. That's incredible. I have a little garden as well that I'm just growing flowers right now, but my mother passed earlier this year, and that
Oh,
was a
sorry to hear.
suggestion from the therapist. Thank you. It was just plant a garden in her honor, and so that's what I did. And I have a thing with purple flowers. That's like my life universe sign. And so I did a whole garden of purple flowers, and it brought me so much joy to put them in with as seeds or bulbs, and then to have flowers that I grew and to have them in my home. And so there is something very therapeutic about that. And my kids have helped me and watered, and Mom, come out, your flowers are
Yeah.
blooming. So it's brought something really beautiful to our family that I just didn't even think I would enjoy, but that's something I love for
I
sure.
think it's important that kids know where things come from rather than just appear.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, this costs money. This is why I work. This is why I have to leave. And I think it's important to get the full context. I wanted to revert real quick to the therapy. You're speaking about couples therapy, obviously, for parents. Is that the approach that you would take?
I would say couples therapy plus or minus. Believe all therapy is beneficial. I think individual therapy as a start is really beautiful, and then coming together as a couple, because you have to self-explore all of your sort of work, right? And you have to do that shadow work where you're like in the darkness and you go to that deep, dark place of your mind that you're like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to go there. And really what we know as scientists is going there is what helps, because that's what heals it, those wounds. And there's a lot of, I don't know, judgment on therapy and like being over therapized. I've been myself called that. And it's like, no, there's no such thing as being over therapized. What it does is going to your really deeper wounds and healing those. And so that you're just breaking those cycles for your children. And you're not bringing that to the table. You're not bringing that to the table in your marriage because you've worked through them. You're not bringing that to the table for your children because you've healed them. And it's not one day you're healed. You just work on it. For me, I had a lot of body dysmorphia, stuff that I was carrying with me from old childhood wounds that I really had to work on before I had 2 athletic children. I had product of immigrant skin color, hair differences, and not blending that I had to really work on. I had a negative self-talk, just being somebody that's very on the go and going. What was motivating me, my inner voice was more negative. Come on, do it. You got this. And being kind. And so working on all those things has brought me a lot of peace. And it's brought me to a different place in a relationship in both my marriage and with my children and with my patients. And so I think the more that we can talk about things, and I think like you and I have just discussed, there's a reason why people are so distracted. There's a reason why people want to be on their phones all the time. There's a reason why they're eating the way they're eating. It's like there's some self-soothing that needs to happen there. I look at my phone and I'm not great with it. I could be better, but I know when it's happening. I'm like, I'm being sucked in. I'm over-consuming. I'm being told that I'm less than, and I'm turning my phone off to those things. And I'm going to just go outside and hang with my people because that's what's going to make me feel alive, not looking at someone else in Europe. That's not bringing me joy.
That's the thing too. It's always going to be your less than. That's the whole point. Is consumerism, is to get you to buy something and to get you to click something. That's the whole point.
Yeah. You can get muscles without lifting weights.
Yeah.
You can get skinny without drugs. No, you can't. Both of us know, being in medicine, like, we know what it takes to be healthy. I know what it takes to have this body and this mind and this soul. And by the way, it's work all day, every day. And it's things I love, but I love myself enough now after all the work I've done to say I am deserving of this apple instead of this crap bar or whatever is being sold to me. I know, because I'm a strong, confident female, to say eating an apple with peanut butter is a way healthier option than any protein bar that someone's going to sell me on Instagram. I just know that to be true.
One final thing on the therapy, I guess, to those who might say, I don't want to talk about everything. I'd rather just go out there and go to the gym. Or I think too, though, one of the benefits that you're getting at is that you could sit down and have a talk like this with somebody and try to break patterns. Maybe you go to the gym and you're great with that, but maybe you also come home after and drink whiskey every night, or you fall into a screaming match, a repeat screaming match with your significant other as well. Yeah, you're doing a lot of active things, but you're also falling into a lot of traps that just don't seem to get better.
Yeah, I think what we're hitting on is the idea of numbing. And that's the issue with our society, is that we are numbing our pain because we don't want to face it. And so, yes, you're going to the gym and that's great, but are you not facing your PTSD from serving in the military, your bullying episode, your parents' divorce, your negative self-talk? Are you not facing those? And so, yeah, the gym's helping, but then you go home and you're right back with that same demon.
Or the terror of AI taking over jobs, and what am I going to do? And how will it be pediatricians in 35 years like there are now? Whatever it is, right? There's so much,
whatever it is,
so many excuses to turn away and try to escape and not confront your fear.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that.
Hold on 1 second. I feel like I'm going through these questions so quickly. I thought I had a lot over here. I have another page, but it's also because I like talking to you. So time.
Yeah, exactly.
Goes by.
It goes quicker. Don't worry about it. I actually think it's really admirable for you to have a platform to be able to speak to young men and men in healthcare, and
women too.
Yeah, I think, yes. And that's why I'm here, obviously, too. Women in general, we, of course, have the therapy as a stigma, but I think it's even more so for men. And I think that doing that deeper work for men is so much harder. And I think the more that we can go out there and scream, no, getting in touch with myself and my feelings is not, it's masculine, and women want that. And so that's what I mean to say that it's important to have that conversation for all the men out there as well, because even my young men in my office are like, I don't want to talk about feelings. And it's like, no, that's not cool. It's cool to talk about feelings. It's cool to do the work.
And don't sell yourself short. You don't just appeal to women. When I was at the park yesterday, because again, I'm Mr. Mom much of the time. And at the park, there were several parents, the majority of fathers with their kids at the park. And I'm looking at it because I am from a different generation. And I remember thinking to myself, you never saw dads at the park 35, 40 years ago. Things have changed, but I'm sure a lot of fathers like me listen to people like you, or heck, I'm at the bus stop trying to get a butternut squash recipe from one of the moms because it's something I want to cook for my kids. Like, things have certainly changed.
I think that we're all moving in that direction of just wanting to be surrounded by authenticity. And so
Yeah,
the
I think
fact that
that's
we're
what
just
podcast culture offers. People, they want to at least even vicariously hear honest conversation that can go any which way. And I know
right.
that's what appeals to me.
Me too. Me too.
I love music, but when you hear every song 50 times or 200 times for 30, 40 years, I can only listen to John Bon Jovi so many times. I love him, but, or The Doors even, or,
Yeah, exactly.
AC/DC, love it, but I've heard all the songs a million times. Podcasts, they offer something different for me, certainly when I'm working out or driving.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So when you were starting JAANUU, who were the naysayers? Who were the people telling you couldn't do it? Did you get resistance to it?
Yes. I mean, I will tell you, we still have people that judge and doubt, and I don't think that ever really goes away. And I think that's part of what we're talking about, where you have to get so strong in your own beliefs that you're just going to drown out the negative noise. But people have tried to get me to change the name because it had too many vowels, or that it was of Indian descent and that didn't appeal to a larger audience. People have said there's too many scrubs in the market and why you. We've had people question sometimes because we think outside the box from a fashion standpoint. So we'll pick designs that are just different, and we'll have people come on and say, no one's going to wear that, or people not liking our color choices, whatever it may be. There's always going to be someone or something that's going to bring negativity to your life. And for the most part, those are just negative people that really don't like themselves. And the more that you do that work and you realize, okay, that's a you issue, that's not a me issue. I'm so strong and confident in my thought process, and I believe so wholeheartedly in this idea that there's nobody that's going to stop me. And that's when the good stuff happens. So I think to everyone out there, like all the young entrepreneurs or anyone starting something new, you're never going to have 100% of the audience believe in you. But if you believe in yourself and you're passion driven, it's going to work. It's just going to work. You can't not fail. The universe wants to see you succeed. And it's just the drive and the consistency that get you there. We didn't go viral until very later in our company's career, very later. We had a lot of obstacles, and then we had the aha moment, and now here we are. And I wouldn't change it for a moment. In fact, some of the most beautiful days of my company are me doing designs and cutting and picking fabrics from my kitchen. And
Yeah, that's
my
got to
job.
be a fun element. That you want to talk about hobbies, and this is more than a hobby, it's obviously a business, but there must be that playfulness moment. Like a writer, I love writing, like where you're thinking of a story or a character. You don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but you're putting fabrics together, colors, and you get to play as an adult, mother of two, married, pediatrician, all these things that you do, you get to play. That's got to be incredible.
Yeah, playing an artistic creation, especially in medicine, because a lot of times that's lacking, is huge. I love looking at our line sheets, and I love texting our designers or our design team and say, what about this? Could we do this? Could we try this? And then seeing it actually come to life and seeing it when I'm out and about. And I'm like, how cool is that to be like thinking of something so different and then even actually having it play out? It's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
And I
you
feel
must have
very
become a
blessed.
seamstress yourself. You're like a seamstress yourself now.
Oh, I wish. My sewing is at best, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But I have
Yeah.
learned a lot of other things in the process of having and founding this company. A
Well, I'm
lot of
sure
us.
from the
Yeah.
financial marketing, all those things.
All those things. Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot. You said woven in confidence.
Yeah, woven in confidence is a really amazing concept of just that inner confidence that, when you do that work and you start really loving yourself and how that shines through. And then also putting on, like we talked about, outside in, right? Like putting on really great fitting scrubs that feel good and move with the body. And you can do all those things and show up for people and be of service. And it's like, we're just here to support your journey. We're just here to make you feel better and do better. And if we have a small part of our storyline of you going out there and giving great care to somebody, you're paying it forward or spreading more kindness and love, awesome. That's what my sole purpose is for all of this, is just to make the world a little better. That's it.
As a founder of this company and a leader, has it influenced you as a pediatrician?
I think it has. I think it makes me very present. I think that it makes me have gratitude for the time that I'm in clinic, and then gratitude for the time that I'm doing the business side, and just being fully present in each of those aspects of my life, whether that's a mom or a wife or a sister or a daughter. And to really be able to say, okay, now I'm here at JAANUU headquarters and this is what I'm working on. And now I'm listening to this teen with her mental health stuff and I'm present. So being very present, also just being able to give the message to teens that like you can do it all. Just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you can't have a business. And just because you have a business doesn't mean that you can't be a doctor. There were a lot of people that told me to leave medicine when my business started taking off and I didn't. And there's a lot of people who told me to leave the business and really just focus on medicine and I didn't. And the whole point is that you can have different aspects of your life and thrive in different aspects of your life. And they're all beautiful and grand and make you part of who you are in the mosaic of your life. And that, I think that's important. And it's an important message for the future, kind of the youngins of society is like, you can have it all and dream big. You don't have to just,
including family. Some people think that you have to do everything first and then kids second. And you have some people that are finding out that they're now 36, 37, 38, and you have to make some choices. But clearly you become a pediatrician, business owner, and you have 2 teenagers and you're a young person. So
yeah. You can. And I started this business when I was a lot younger. And the business idea was over 20 years ago. But the ideas are still there. And yeah, you're never too old. You're just never too old. And it's never too late, is what I want to say. It's never too late. Life has many chapters and many seasons. And so this could be your entrepreneur season, and this could be your maternal season. And that's okay. So
that's a good way to put it. I actually read that not long ago. People have said this might be the season where you have to be present with your children. And then there'll be a season where you can be more involved in your work. What was the special sauce for you to do all these things? Children, marriage, business, license. What was it that you relied on? Did you have a village, as they say, to raise your children and support group? Or was this sheer multitasking and planning and scheduling? Like what allowed you to do all that?
I think, yeah, having a village of really amazing people and having the bar be very high for who you accept in your life, asking for help, I think rest too. And I was lucky. I had an incredible mother who taught us that the sky was the limit. I have an incredible partner and he just goes with my whimsy and believes in me. And when the ideas flow, he's the kind of partner that's taking notes, like, how can we make this happen? I have an amazing group of friends. I have actually decreased the amount of people in my life, especially as of late. And I really feel like I just can look around and be like, gosh, I just have incredible women who love me and believe in me. And maybe it's not hundreds, but there's many people who believe in me and support me in my journey. And I feel really lucky for that. And so I think kind of trimming the fat and just being like, this isn't for me. And then also allowing in all that good female energy makes a big difference. I have old friends that I have had since I was in kindergarten. I also have new friends that I've brought along this kind of entrepreneurial journey. And even in this last year in my grief journey who've supported me. At this phase of my life, this wasn't always true, but I don't really allow a lot of people access to my energy anymore. I just don't.
Yeah,
Like,
I've come to that
don't fit
myself.
in. Yeah.
I would say negativity is wide, positivity is deep. You could look around and the whole ocean might look dark and negative, but that's
Right.
just because of how negativity is. It rises to the surface because it's just so thin and petty, but you got to go deep. And when you do go deep, you realize quickly it's all you need.
Yep. Yep.
That's
It's
just
true.
a little lesson that I learned, but
I love that. That's beautiful.
4 more rapid fire questions for you. All right, Dr.
Yeah.
Neela?
Absolutely.
And I'll also have your information for those that are listening. I always forget to do this. I'm supposed to do this in the beginning, but there'll be some graphics that pop up. Your information, JAANUU's Instagram and all social medias will be in the description. Yours as
Perfect.
well. It is JAANUU.com for those listening.
It's
What's the
JAANUU.com.
Instagram?
It's at JAANUU, JAANUU. And then my personal Instagram is at Dr. Neela, and it's spelled out DOCTORNEELA.
Okay. I'll be looking for
that's
that
my,
later today.
Thank you. That's my kind of like little personal journey and some of my life, all the things we're talking about, mom, entrepreneurial life and sports life and all the things. So
Yes, that it's your mother who kept you so humble because you seem like a humble person.
yeah, my mom actually told us that it was one of the best qualities that you could have as a human is to be humble. And I think that there's a difference between underconfidence and there's also just an aspect of just being humble. And I live in absolute gratitude. I know that the universe wants me to be happy. I know that in my core, I want the universe to be better. I've never been really financially driven, if you can imagine. I really haven't. I've been very passion-based. I picked my subspecialty, which is one of the lowest paid specialties, because I love children in the depths of my soul. I picked lactation.
Go figure that, right? Children, pediatrics.
Yes. Yeah. And lactation too, and JAANUU, these are all passion-driven, purpose-driven projects for me, and it's what serviced me. And I think that's a big part of it, is just doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, the right reasons, of course. Yeah, that's something else. In your 20s, it's all about ambition. It's interesting too with being humble. It takes so much courage to be humble. You don't even have to be completely confident. They're not the same thing. You don't have to be confident to be courageous. And I think the confidence does eventually come. You have to be willing to be made fun of. You have to be willing to be criticized. It's an incredible amount of
Mhm.
courage.
You have
And
to
I think
be
once you
willing.
take on some of that fire and you realize it doesn't hurt so bad, I bounce back pretty quickly. I know who my friends
Yes.
are. And I think that's where the confidence starts to come in. Just
Right.
put yourself out there.
Yeah. You know the people that love you and the people that don't, you wish them well. And yeah, it hurts. And you say, okay, this isn't for me, but I wish you the best. I don't want you in my life now or ever, but I'm happy I learned that lesson. And now let me focus my energy in this direction. And that's just part of life. That's just part of it. So absolutely.
I think there should be an autobiography coming out. I don't know if you've ever considered one, but you got some
This is
great
the second time
isms.
today. Thank you.
Oh,
This is
there
the
you go.
second time today that's come up. And so, yes, I think I'm putting out there the idea of having a book, writing a book. But we'll see how that goes. And
I'm trying to write a memoir on top of everything else. That to me is the hardest thing in the world. Everything else pales by comparison to writing a book, really like taking yourself and putting it out on page. That is exhausting to me. Yeah,
I've heard that. I've heard that from several authors.
So 4 rapid fire questions here. Let's see.
Okay.
You've worked alongside nurses throughout your career. What separates an excellent nurse from an average one?
Being heart-led, what we've talked about is being purpose-driven and heart-led and really and truly caring about the patient first makes for an amazing nurse. I think also being humble and being able to say, hey, I love that you did this correctly, but you did this incorrectly. And that's true for a doctor as well, to
Yeah.
say, hey, I'm always evolving and changing and growing, and I'm not perfect, but I'm willing to learn.
Some people, they view not even criticism, just a suggestion as an attack or
Yes.
belittlement. I always say when it comes to patient care, I check my ego. It doesn't help me. I want to win as a medical provider, and ego isn't going to allow me to do that. I've seen people make disastrous mistakes, and it was usually an assumption, or I've seen this a million times. It's flu season, and you make a judgment call based on an opinion. Sometimes your experience could betray you. Everybody
Yes.
is their own unique situation. Check your ego at the door.
Check your ego at the door. Nobody needs that in medicine. There's no room for that.
I always imagine, like, how can I expect my mom to get the care that I want her to get anywhere else
Right.
if I'm going to be short with people or fall into that trap, which is easy as a nurse, of bitterness or feeling exhausted? It's tough. It can be very tough. Do you think healthcare
Yeah.
has lost some of the doctor-nurse teamwork it once had?
Yes. I think that the team approach to healthcare is suffering. I'd like to see us come together more and not necessarily one higher or one better. I think we're all just on equal footing. And I think that's what we're talking about with humility and being heart-led and love-led. And I think that the whole point of medicine should be a team approach, right? I can't do my job without my nurses. It's not possible. They're the ones that are going in for the history initially. They're the first eyes on the patient. And so I trust when they come to me and say, hey, Dr. Neela, the roommate looks sick, or hey, you need to rush into this room, or hey, can you see this person first? And I think having that just idea that you don't have all the answers as a doctor, and by the way, as a nurse, you also need us. And so the more that we can get back to everybody contributes and we're all here for the benefit of the patient, the better we're going to do. And I think, again, putting phones down and having more conversations, because when I first started training, we knew everything about our nurses. I knew when she was getting married or when he was going to propose and all their likes and dislikes because we weren't on our phones.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
now it's like we're not.
You had to
in the
talk
break
to each other
rooms.
at the nurse's station or whatnot, but now
Yeah.
yeah.
So more of that, getting back to connecting with one another. Because guess what? You're going to show up for your friend that's a nurse versus just someone that's a colleague. You're going to show up for them more, and you're going to communicate better with them when things about them, you care about them.
One of the things I find that also works from a nurse talking to a physician is I do believe in hierarchy on the team. It might not be popular opinion, but I don't like referring to people by their first names, like a physician, maybe because I was in the military and they were the officers, but that's the doctor. If I feel like I have a certain skill set and if I'm not happy with my place, then go back to school. I address everyone as doctor. For example, I was a Navy hospital corpsman. I was attached to the Marines a lot. I became a nurse because I thought I was going back into Navy medicine, and that didn't happen. So maybe if I knew
Mm.
that, I would have picked something that had more leadership quality. Whereas another person who had the same bio got out and became a physician assistant, which is actually more in
Mm.
line with the Navy hospital corpsman. I could feel some type of way about that on the team. But the fact is, he's the PA. I'm not. He's the one that's closer to closing the loop. I'm not. If I don't agree with that, then I need to go back to school, but I'm not going to try to be ultra casual with him based on our background because I feel a type of way about that. Sure, I think we pretty much can do the same thing at this point, but he's the PA, I'm not. I do like in a team, everyone knows their place in the team. There's open communication, but I
Yes.
don't like when things are too casual on a medicine team. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel about that.
I like that. I like that.
And I find that things work better because then when the physician knows, when you have that respect, you get that respect back and trust. And I find that on a code, I work a lot better when we
Mhm.
have that mutual understanding.
Very
That's just
true.
me. That's just me. I find sometimes things are a little too casual for my taste
Yeah.
in
I
some of
like
the
that.
ERs I work in. Hello, ladies and gents. I'm RN Glenn, aka Nurse Dad, former Navy hospital corpsman, current ER nurse, and host of the Nurse Dad podcast. And if you like what we do here, please go to mynursedad.com and hit subscribe. While you're on the website, you'll see a pop-up. Fill it out for my free guide, and it will also enroll you in my newsletter. And no, I will not over-email you or spam you. While you're on my website, scroll down and you'll run into my Instagram. In the meantime, thank you for what you do, and stay hungry, be humble, Nurse Dad out. Rapid fire questions for Dr. Neela here. If your own child were hospitalized, what qualities would you want in the nurse taking care of them?
Passion, determination, persistence. I would want the nurse that's, are you okay? Can I help? And I don't know the answer, but I'm going to find out. And I'm not giving up on you. You matter.
Sure, pediatric
Those,
nurses, they're incredible. So a lot of
ugh,
times they're not there for no reason. Yeah, no, better odds you'll find a real passionate pediatric
yes,
nurse.
they're the best. They're the best. Like I said, I couldn't live my life without my nurses, nor would I want to. It's not possible. I couldn't do what I do without my nurses. They are the heartbeat of my clinic, and I'm lucky to call them friends and almost sisters at this point because we've been together so long.
One more question. When your children are adults and they look back at everything you've accomplished as a doctor, entrepreneur, mother, what do you hope they believe mattered most to you?
Gosh, authenticity. That I did it for all the right reasons, and that I stayed true to who I was along that journey, that I didn't change, that I didn't let negative people affect me, that I didn't let naysayers win, that I didn't slowly decrease my light because of my experiences, that I didn't forget who I was in the process, whatever it may be, that I didn't let any of those things affect me, that mom was mom. And she was mom at the games, and the same mom that was at clinic, and the same mom that was doing a podcast, and the same mom that made us a birthday cake for our birthday. That mom was mom. So I think authenticity is something that I really pride myself on. And that's even been in question. There are people that are like, oh, you can't be like that. And oh, I don't believe you. And oh, I know you have this. And it's just not true. It's just not true. I have been who I have been since the very beginning, and only polishing up and getting, I think, better and growing and evolving and becoming no nonsense and finding out who I am and being confident in that. So I think authenticity is key. And I think a lot of times, and I tell them, the people that don't believe that are the people that there's a lot of projection there. And we can have a whole nother episode about projection, because that is something that when you learn that early on, it makes a big difference when people are coming at you and you're like, ooh, what's there?
Yeah, how you see yourself. I think it was Rollo May. I can't remember which philosopher. You can choose to be a citizen or a consumer. And I think once you make that decision that I want to be an informed citizen, trying to be the best that I can be, being as authentic as I can be, which really is constantly questioning yourself, constant self-examination. If you really
Yes.
just want to walk on a path and not leave it, then you're not helping yourself be authentic. It is a constant shifting and reevaluation, but I don't know. I just learned to love it because I recognize that I'm changing all the time. How can I not? As a dad,
Yeah.
I'm changing all the time. My kids are getting older.
Yes.
I'm acquiring more fears, but also vanquishing those fears by learning more information or talking to people. And when you're authentic
Yes.
and you're willing to not gatekeep and give information or give knowledge, you're going to receive it back from other people. Like you were saying, you have less friends now than you did before because you need to surround yourself by people who, for example, I believe success is contagious. And I'm happy for
Yes.
people genuinely when they're successful because it just reminds me that it's possible and it can happen to me. But to feel bitterness about that, you might as well just close yourself off, lock your
Right.
windows and doors, and stay in your lane for the rest of your life and not even think about improvement if you're going to feel that way. I don't know.
Yeah, what's the point of that? I love
Um,
that.
but Dr. Neela,
I'm so
thank,
sorry that I have to hop off.
no, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you so much. JAANUU.com, the social medias, everything that'll be in the description below. And this was a great conversation. Thank you for talking to me about your life, your career, and your business.
Thank you so much. It was more than a pleasure. I'm happy to come back too and discuss more. We only hit the tip of the iceberg, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to take you up on trying to find something that fits me.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I got you.
Thanks a lot.